Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Gielan for SYS-CON TV here at 13th Cloud Expo Silicon Valley, as is Roberto Medrano, in charge of all things to do with marketing and much more besides at SOA Software Inc. Welcome, Roberto.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Well, let's just see if the world out there is glad to have you. I think they will, because you made a major announcement at this show, and by definition, the people watching on SYS-CON TV are probably watching because they weren't here. How should we fill them in on that?
Well, we announced a initiative to reinvent your data center with APIs. Everything is going software-defined now, and every enterprise is trying to do something to reinvent their enterprise with agile methods. And we're helping them with the APIs. API is one of the best ways to do it. We provide the security, the management, the quota management, a way for you to monetize your APIs. So we have a plethora of products for people to choose from.
Now, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I know when your CTO, Alistair Farquharson, was speaking yesterday at the show, of course it's a random sample, but nonetheless, someone stood up and still didn't get APIs at all, to the extent that the question was, so like all these APIs are SOA Softwares, right? And I'm locked into you forever. So, you know, why would I even want to have anything to do with APIs? Okay. What do you do with that level of yes, I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, I was there actually, and there's some questions. Of course, some people know what APIs are, other people do not know. But for the people that do not know, APIs is a layer of integration where you integrate apps to the backend, for example. And those APIs are the connectivity issues. Those APIs have to be secure, they have to be managed, they have to be monitored, they have to be, you have to know everything that happens with those APIs. And what we provide is that level of products to actually monitor, secure your APIs, so people don't have to worry about those things. So APIs it's an important layer, because without APIs you couldn't connect really anything at this point.
And, you know, I don't know whether in that particular case that gentleman would have been even interested in the notion of software-defined everything. He didn't seem to be quite up to speed yet. But let us bring the audience up to speed. Why is everything becoming software-defined? What's the business advantage of that?
Well, everybody knows now about software. Everybody has an iPhone or an Android phone or any kind of phone that has some apps. So everybody knows that you can manage everything through a software layer of something, whether you have a router, whether you have a firewall, whether you have an application like a CRM application. Everything is defined through some sort of layer of policy, some sort of layer of APIs, some sort of layer of software. So people are talking about software-defined data center in terms to define the actual software that you do for different elements of the data center. A data center has way too many elements. Some people are talking about software-defined networking. How do you define networking? How do you actually manage networking? How to monitor networking? How do you define policies for networking? And provide those little APIs or web services for people to actually use them. Other people talk about software-defined storage. Storage has to have APIs to be able to connect and communicate to those storage aspects. So that's why software-defined is becoming everything. So now we call it software-defined everything, not just networking, not just software, not just data center, but everything. And the next thing that is coming up about is what some people are calling Internet of Things. How are you going to have all these things like a watch, like a shoe that has an API going to some mobile device, tracking you, how fast you run, how slow you run, how many calories you have, and then you go back into your app, and you can tell how well you did over the last several months, and in terms also the calories as well. So there's a lot of applications that are coming everything is software defined.
Can it really be very long, just to put on your futurist hat, can it really be very long before every baby has an IP address?
No, because you can potentially put a little device or a watch or something on them that has an IP address, and you can track them. So right now, some 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds can have even a phone, or they can have a little watch, and people can actually see that IP address. Today, your car has an IP address if you have one of those cars that are internet bound, so people can actually track you, follow you where you are, and you can find where your car is as well. So everything is becoming slowly an IP bound type of a society. And those IPs have to communicate to applications, and those applications are usually API based.
So all in all, summa summarum, this is brilliant for SOA Software Incorporated.
Well, I wrote a very good article, of course, one of the best articles of Forbes about 18 months about the API economy. If you do a search on API economy, my name comes with Forbes there, and especially talking about the API economy. What does this mean? Why is everything is API based? Why is everything why so many companies like Amazon, like Google, like Twitter have a set of APIs, and why is Amazon does 1 trillion of APIs calls every day, for example. That's a gigantic amount of calls on APIs, and that's because you have so many transactions, so many applications, so many things going on that back to that Amazon or that Twitter or that Google, that they need to do those transactions at every moment and every day. And they have to manage and secure those transactions.
Well, Roberto, I think this has been very insightful. So we're going to give two takeaways for people watching. One, obviously, that's a good point. It is a brilliant article. The API Economy by Roberto Medrano in Forbes, as he says, just Google the title. And secondly, let's not forget, follow up on his company. Who else in the world owns SOA.com except this gentleman? Thanks so much for joining us at 13th Cloud Expo, Roberto.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And thank you for following along out there on the World Wide Web.